the tariffs and
Oh yeah.
all kinds of other weird stuff going on. All those things need to be taken into consideration. And then also there's a timeline for the toy development, and then there's a timeline for the content development.
Yes.
And often the two are not friendly to each other. And that was something that I ran into a lot when I worked on Sonic the Hedgehog and the movie one for Sonic and Sonic Boom. Marrying the timeline of the master toy, so that's always considered the most important, the master toy line, and then all the other licenses are usually less money involved and less time for product development, but they usually master toy comes first and then everything else flows after that. And it's really tough, especially when you're developing a movie and it's really like a one-shot kind of a thing. Like if the movie tanks, then chances are very good that the merchandise is not, it's very rare that the movie tanks and then people love the merchandise. It could happen, but it's more likely that if the movie does poorly, then the merch will do poorly. And then if the movie does well, the merch will do well. So it's so risky. And the toy companies are, well, like the media companies, they're all crying poor mouth right now, especially because of the tariffs and, you know, it's always something. So everybody's very mindful of the money that they invest. And then that doesn't even count the marketing of it, because, you know, there's tons of money to be made and tons of money that goes into the manufacturing, the product development and manufacturing process, but then marketing. And even though the TV series are meant to be marketing tools, the marketing tools need marketing.
Yeah.
So you can't just put a TV show up there and then hope that somebody's going to find it on Netflix. And Netflix is very choosy about what they put their emphasis on, as are all the streaming platforms and all the networks too. It's not a slam dunk just because you get distribution with a big company. In fact, sometimes it's a mixed blessing. I feel bad because I see the fan chatter. I'm very aware of what fans think about different things. Oh, I wish they knew what was really going on behind the scenes, because then they would see, hey, Sega's not trying to kill Sonic. We all want him to succeed. Or, you know, I worked on Yokai Watch too, and bunches of other properties, Pink Panther, Cousin and Pat, a lot of different IPs. And sometimes the new thing that the licensor is trying to do works, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's contractual disputes that get in the way, sometimes other things. But the fans usually take it to heart, and they're like, oh, so, you know, they're trying to kill this franchise, or you know, they feel like it's a personal affront to the thing that they love. And it's rarely that. It's usually about dollars and cents, or yen, or pounds, or euros, or whatever. It's a financial decision. And sometimes, I'm sure you've noticed this, even if the TV show is really popular, it could still be canceled, because if the toys are not selling, or if there's a dip in the sales, or the dip in the sales of the video games, if it was something created to promote video game sales and the game sales are not doing well, then it really does not matter how well the content is doing. It's about the sales, because usually the content is a loss leader. You know, when you think about TV commercials, a TV commercial is meant to sell something. And if the product is selling well, then that commercial will continue to run and generate sales. And then if it doesn't, if the company doesn't see sales, then they'll yank the commercial and make a new one, or, you know, have a new campaign or a new slogan or something. And that's the thinking behind these series.
Yeah, I mean, there have been quite a few cases where we know, like, it really depends on, you know, the studios, etc., and like the countries and all that. But definitely the connection between the series and the toys is like very clear to anyone who watches, especially when it comes to the kids shows. We can tell. We know all the stories of like all the ones that, like, especially the ones where like we know the story has changed or it was shortened because of sales and all of that, or even ratings. Like it's those sorts of things are usually pretty well known. But it is definitely interesting in the age of social media to see how people speculate. And yeah, like it can be sometimes like very wrong opinions, and it's very clear, oh, you don't know how this industry works. And that's like okay, because like anyone can post online or whatever. Can't expect everyone to know everything, but it can be, of course, frustrating to see. And it's like especially knowing that there's a potential for people on staff to see these comments.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a fast and thorough education on fan speak when I worked at Sega, and I sat next to our head of community for a year. I mean, we shared a table, but
Hmm.
everybody. It was just like one big old table in Burbank, and we all sat at it and had our workstations. And so Aaron Weber was the head of community, and we sat together, and he had this amazing track record with Sega. He started moderating fan forums when he was like 14. And
Hmm.
then I met him when he was in his late 20s, and he had like this 15-year track record at Sega, longer than anybody in the office. He knew
Hmm.
everything there was to know. And my God, he was just like in the trenches with fans all day, every day. And I learned so much. And he was kind of a therapist for like, there would be like this communal freak out for various things that would happen. And then it was Aaron who started the Sonic official live stream. And so he would have us all employees come and do stuff on the live stream, and it was all very deliberate, and he had a plan and a strategy and everything, but it came across as, oh, just a bunch of us working together, shooting the breeze and playing games and this and that. But he was, and still is, very smart and savvy. I don't think he's working full time for Sega anymore. I think he's just consulting. But oh my gosh, the way he would just interact with the fans, it was magic. It was
Hmm.
magic. And I could just see his laptop screen all day, and it was very hard for me to concentrate sometimes because it was so interesting and such a study in human behavior, really.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I love to give credit to Aaron whenever I can, because I just think he's so talented in that regard. And especially with Sega, because he was and is a lifelong fan, played
Hmm.
all the games. I mean, basically from as early as he could speak and move his little hands and do the controls and stuff like that. So it was almost like it was part of his DNA.
Mm.
And so that was a great education for me, like a graduate degree almost.
Yeah, yeah, that's super interesting. I think, yeah, social media in general is definitely very an important factor. Yeah, just for seeing like what's going on, how people are reacting to the media and all of that. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about like what it's interesting that like this is about K-pop in particular. Like of course you have other idol media, other magical idol media, but seeing it from a K-pop perspective, but it's also like a kids show is interesting because I think this also comes up a lot in terms of like how idols are presented to kids, but also the fact that like they're super in right now. Like in Japan, like almost all the magical girl shows right now are surrounding idols as a theme. Like it's very big. It's curious to see like I guess getting that balance right of like making it, still like fantastical and like, it's more of a the fantasy of becoming an idol versus like trying to approach it as a real job. But it sounds like from your description like this is going to get into the industry as well, but from a kid's perspective. So I'm definitely curious about how that's going to work because I can see that being a really like a fine line between like, and I mean, I'm more familiar with the Japanese side of things, but I know that like from, the Korean side as well, like the idol industry is famous, but it's also infamous, if that makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. Yeah. I know. It's a mixed blessing, but guess what? Hollywood's like that too. So it's
So
not just
true.
there's maybe you've heard of the Me Too movement.
Of
So
course, yes.
yeah,